Laura, why are you in a car? Why do you sound like you're in a tunnel?
Well, I sound like I'm in a tunnel because we are in a moving vehicle driving on our way to, well, first stop Blackpool, to then drive down with my friends, Ashley and Sam from House of Wings, who are DJing at the event I'm curating at Secret Garden Party, which is happening next week.
Exciting.
So apologies if you can hear car noise. It's because I'm in a car. And apologies for that, because we should have recorded it last night at your house, but obviously I left everything a bit too late and couldn't do it because I gave myself a migraine from stress.
Yeah, well, I wasn't feeling great yesterday either because I'm still struggling from my weekend of festivalness the weekend before. So, you know.
Week of recovery.
Yeah.
But what a week it has been, Dawn.
It has been a week. We've had 15,000 downloads of our podcast.
2,000 Instagram followers on Instagram. 2,000 Instagram followers on Instagram. There you go. Have an extra Instagram.
Yeah.
And we hit the bloody charts. We're taking the charts by storm this week with a little bit of help from Clementine Ford, obviously.
Yeah, it's just bizarre. Like, obviously in the UK, we've hit the top 50 in Spotify, which is just madness. Granted, we were only there for a day, but we were there.
Yeah, I think it was 2 days because we were below Louis Theroux, and then we overtook him.
Yeah.
And we overtook our Florence, our hero and husband, Florence Gibbon, which is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And very unlikely to ever happen again. So make hay when the sun shines, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and then obviously hitting the charts in Australia as well on Apple and Spotify. And I believe we're now kind of creeping up the New Zealand charts, which is
we are still in the top 50 Apple Podcasts, top 50 Apple Podcast Society and Culture Australia. We're number 40 something today, but at one point we were 36. Like, what on earth are people in Australia doing listening to us? Let's be honest, they're not. They're listening to their Clementine, and that is fair enough.
What an episode it was, though.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. How fantastic was she? Like, every single thing that she said was just like, not just resonated so much, but was such absolute sparkling pearls that I will just hold with me forever. Like, really, such a clever and interesting person, just amazing. So just so much gratitude to her.
Yeah, we've had such good feedback from that episode as well, and loads of people resonating with all the things that she said and all her words of wisdom. So yeah, such a great episode.
Yeah. So should we move to Australia then?
Well, we might as well. That's where everyone's listening.
Well up for it. So I guess this episode we just kind of want to have a bit of a reflection of what's gone, and we're not just a reflection, but like a catch up of where we are up to on the late ADHD diagnosis roller coaster, and also touch a bit on stress and burnout.
Yeah, because I guess doing this for us has been quite stressful. There's been a lot involved, plus everything else that's going on in our lives. So yeah, we just need to talk about it, and we feel like this is a great episode to do it.
ADHDs females, ADHDAF, ADHDs females, the podcast.
Hi, I'm Dawn.
Hi, I'm Laura, and we are ADHDAF. Seriously. We are two neurodivergent neighbours who moved to the same street at the same time, at the same age, with the same undiagnosed disability. What are the chances?
Since discovering the enormous impact ADHD has had on our lives and the horrifying numbers of missing undiagnosed females, it has become our mission to make some serious noise.
We want to use our voices to raise awareness, break the stigma, and share our experiences in the hope that they help others.
So join us for a chat, or as it's called up here in Aberdeen, a blether.
Trigger warning, we will be covering some really sensitive topics, so please do have a read of the description of each episode before listening.
It's important to note that we are not medical professionals, we're not therapists or coaches. We're not qualified to offer advice or support. What we will do is share our experiences alongside resources and information from professionals. We will talk over each other and we will go off topic and forget the point mid-sentence.
We are both assigned female at birth, which means that we can only speak from the experience of life as AFAB people. However, ADHDAF is an inclusive space. Whatever your gender, you are very welcome here.
Yes, you are.
ADHDs females, ADHDAF.
So, if you're one of our 2K followers on Instagram, you would have seen on the story that we were being indecisive and we couldn't decide what to do this episode on and asked for suggestions. And this is partly because we've both pretty much burnt ourselves out and didn't have the mental capacity to even make that kind of decision, because indecisiveness is part of our ADHD as well.
Yeah.
And one of you lovely lot made the suggestion, which is very, very apt indeed, that we talk about how to avoid burnout. And it kind of made us realise that, you know, as much as we often like hit the point home about not being experts and this not being an advice podcast, it's obviously important to sort of, you know, just really make that very, very clear, because I think with so many different ADHD platforms, and they all do different things and they all do amazing things, I think that sometimes we can think that they're all the same, but obviously that's not what we're doing, is it?
Well, that's it. We're here to talk about our experiences as we have just jumped on board this late diagnosis roller coaster. And we don't have the answers and advice that everyone potentially is looking for.
We'd love to hear your advice.
Yeah.
We are literally just we're on this ride with you alongside. So it's much more camaraderie than it is expertise, which is why it's so helpful to have different guests on to give us different insights into, you know, their personal experiences of it, how different people experience it, but also to teach us some stuff, because we don't have a clue. We don't know.
Well, that's it. We're all just kind of feeling about in the dark and trying to figure out what our ADHD is to each of us. So I had someone message earlier today, actually, and she was saying, you know, that she really enjoyed the Clementine episode and she got a lot from it. And she's a mother. And so that was like really insightful to hear what Clementine was saying about motherhood, which is something that we can't talk about. So this is why we have different guests, different areas.
Yeah, same. So Sophia was the same. And at some point we will touch on, we get a lot of people messaging about menopause, because obviously hormonal fluctuations make your ADHD symptoms worse. There's so much information about that, but we're both 39 and we're not actually there yet. We don't have a clue about it. I'm absolutely bloody terrified of it. But yeah, it's not something that we know about, but we will absolutely, you know, be speaking to somebody about that to help us all learn. But yeah, there's a lot we don't know. All we know is what we have experienced, what we are experiencing, and that's why, again, it's so important to get different perspectives, because as the title of the podcast suggests, we are AFAB, and that's the only experience that we have is assigned female at birth people in the UK, where we're from, the age that we are, that, you know, the culture that we come from, that we live in, the privileges that we have, etc. You know, that's the only voice that we have, and that's why it's important to have other voices and to really learn about, you know, how this definitely not one size fits all, because barely two ADHD people are the same, despite being so similar, is that we can all learn from each other and support each other.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't come up for air for ages then. Sorry.
Laura, we're used to that. It's fine.
I've had a coffee. I'm drinking a Diet Coke. I'm on Elvan, so I just need to probably slow down my talking right now. Well, I guess, like you said, it's quite important to talk about how we are doing right now as like a check-in. So to recap, we both got diagnosed in inverted commas at the end of last year. So where are you up to, Dawn, and what's going on with you?
At the moment, I am still waiting on an official medical diagnosis. I have been on the waiting list with the NHS for over a year now. It was last May that I went in originally, saw my doctor. I have been emailing back and forth to the psychiatrist's office in Aberdeen, and I've put forward my educational psychologist report from the uni. And I'm at the point now where I'm just really frustrated because I know I have ADHD, and I just can't get any help for it. And I've spoken about this before, how like it's like having a broken leg. Like everybody around you knows you have a broken leg, and you know you have a broken leg, but they're just making you walk around with that broken leg and get on with life without anybody helping you.
It's absolutely shocking.
Yeah, so I'm at the point now where I can't really afford to go private, but there are people out there willing to maybe help me if that's the route that I end up having to go down, because I've gone back to the psychiatry office.
You mean family and friends?
Yeah, I've got somebody that's essentially said, look, I can help you. We can sort out a repayment thing that works for you, like whatever. But basically, I've gone back to the psychiatry office and I've said to them, look, I'm not really fussed about how long I have to wait. It's more about I need to know how long I'm going to have to wait. Because if it's 6 weeks or even 6 months, I may be prepared to wait that long. But if it's 6 years, then I'm not. So it's not about how long I have to wait. It's just about knowing how long I have to wait. So at the moment, I'm waiting for them to come back to me to tell me if they can give me a timeline, an estimation. And based on that estimation, that's going to really make me decide whether I'm going to go down the private route or not. So that's kind of where I am.
I think it's a really, really good idea, because the limbo in itself is so bad for your mental health, which you're trying to get help with. We got a message from a girl, and obviously I've forgotten her name, so sorry for being rude to the person who this is, because we talked about potentially discussing this on the podcast at some point in the future. And she said that she showed me a text message from the GP or from the doctor's surgery saying, thank you for your forms. You are on a waiting list, which is 6 years long or 5 years long.
It's just
like
madness.
In a text message. Like, are you actually joking?
That's it. And people are just expected to put their life on hold for 6 years. It's just unthinkable.
And the point is, like, I think that so often we sort of especially in terms, like if you think about it in terms of depression, right? People talk about depression and it's so normal, it's so common, and people are on medication for it and they throw out meds left and right. And actually, like, how serious that is. Like, when we got a message from a girl, sorry, I'm going off piste, but I feel like it's valid. We got a message from a girl who said that, very sadly, and she used the phrase, my father lost his battle with depression. I've never heard that phrase used before, but it hit really, really hard. It's like, that's what I think so many people don't understand, is that it's not just like, oh, I feel sad, oh, I can't go to work, or I can't get out of bed. Like, we're talking about people losing their lives.
Yeah.
And if you're telling somebody that they have something wrong with their brain and they can't get help for 6 years, well, let's fucking hope they're still alive in 6 years.
Exactly.
You know? Like, this is really, really serious. And ADHD, as we know, we have a shorter life expectancy because of all manner of different things that can happen, our impulsivity or habits that we can't form, looking after ourselves, etc. Like, ADHD literally kills.
Well, this is it.
Literally.
Yeah.
This is a really serious thing. Like, and obviously, as ever, we don't want to slate the NHS. It's not their fault. They've been underfunded and all of the problems that happen. But change has to happen. Lives are being ruined. Relationships destroyed, families destroyed, lives ended. Like, it's actually, a health crisis. It's very, very serious.
And one of the things that I was told when I phoned up the psychiatry office at one point was that they're not prioritizing ADHD at the moment. And I just can't understand that, because I'm like, surely if you prioritize treating people with ADHD, then maybe you're going to fast forward these people, say the ones that are suffering from anxiety, depression, all these comorbidities.
And that's the thing, is it costs more money to not treat us.
Yeah.
People in prison, people, do you know what I mean? People unemployed, on the dole, like it costs more money to not treat us.
Yeah.
The system has to change. It has to change.
It
and
does.
I don't know how, and I'm sorry for getting on my soapbox. I don't have the answer. I've got a few ideas. They're probably complete bullshit, but things have to change, you know?
They do. And I'm at the point now where I'm going back to university in September, and it gives me the fear to think that I still don't have help in place for me to get through uni. The only reason I went to uni is because I knew that I was going through this ADHD process, and I thought I'd have help in place before I started uni. I'm now going into second year, having struggled my way through first year with no help in place still. And whether that becomes from medical help or whatever else, CBT, I'm not sure. But, just to have that confirmation and the help in place would help me massively in my, struggles when it comes to getting through uni.
Yeah. And like you say, it's also the fact of like, never mind going into second year of uni, you could be going into the second year of your 40s and not be anywhere near. You don't have a clue.
That's what I am.
I hope that they can give you a timeline and then you can make your decision of what best to do.
Yeah. And the other things at the moment is like, just obviously I'm trying to meander through life with the knowledge that I have the best way I can, doing the podcast, working 2 jobs.
Yeah.
I've still got assignment stuff to do for going back to uni that I haven't even looked at yet, for like our summer assignment. Yeah. Trying to kind of enjoy myself as well and get things.
You've got to actually have a life.
Yeah, get things done. I've ended up getting a cleaner. That was something pretty major for me, because I really struggled to keep on top of housework, and because of the lack of time that I have, it's just not a priority. And ultimately, if my house isn't
the mess and clutter, it affects your mental health.
Yes, exactly. When the house is a mess and untidy, I really struggle.
And then you're in a cycle, you're spiraling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. And I'm really bad because I don't really see mess. And when I came to your house the other day, I was like, oh my God, it's so sparkly and clean in here. And it did feel very, very zen and very lovely. So it's a really, really good thing that you've done. I think that's a really good tip, actually, because we can't give advice. It's only our lived experience. That's a great tip for any listeners that are struggling with that cycle of like not being able to get on top of their house stuff, then getting getting down on themselves about that, more self-worth issues, and you spiral. Is like, if you are in a position where you can get a cleaner or ask somebody to help you, the difference it makes is enormous, right?
Yeah. I mean, I felt that there was definitely a lot of guilt and shame around getting a cleaner. Just because, one, I'm a student. Who do I think I am being able to afford a cleaner? That's like a luxury. That's how it's seen, Yeah. But actually, it's not. It's a basic need for me, because it's something that I'm struggling with. If I was unable to walk and required a wheelchair, I would get the aids to help me walk, to help me move around. So this is
help you with whatever disability. And This is part of your disability. And as you're also not getting the help that you need to find the tools to help yourself. Absolutely.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was trying to say. But yeah, exactly. And I've had to look at my finances and stuff and be like, right, well, actually, there are things that I can cut out on in order to get this cleaner in place. So, you just make sacrifices elsewhere to make your life easier. So that's what I've done.
It's really, really good. It's fantastic. Also recommend dyeing your hair an amazing tequila sunrise colour. It's definitely good for one's mental health. Good for my mental health. I'm just really enjoying looking at it at all times. With massive
I was just thinking it needs a bit of a top up because it's faded quite a lot. But yeah.
Yeah, it looks peachy now, but it still looks really lovely.
But yes, dyeing your hair great colours. I think there's a lot to be said about that whole colour thing. And
but you've seen my house, right?
Yeah. But what's it called? There's a name for it. It's It's gone. I can't remember what
I
it's
just
called.
said it. I just called it colour therapy, but maybe it isn't.
No, there's another name for it. I can't remember what it's called, but
it's dopamine boosting anyway.
Yeah, dopamine dressing. I think that was the phrase I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So if you dress and you make yourself colorful, it makes you happier. But anyway, enough about me. How are you, and where are you at, Laura?
Well, it's just been absolutely ridiculous. So I came back from Glastonbury. I knew I had 2 weeks. So I for the last, I don't even know what year it is, 12 years or something like that, I have upcycled accessories and embellished festival headwear and accessories, Ibiza style, etc. And I used to trade at festivals, and I moved to Ibiza and still traded at festivals in the UK occasionally. And then obviously COVID happened and nothing's happened. Didn't think festivals would come back. Festivals are back, hooray! Yay. And I got asked to trade at the Secret Garden Party again, which is where I first started trading at festivals. So it's very, very special because the Secret Garden Party called it quits in 2017. So didn't even think that festivals were happening, that festival would ever happen again. And it happens to be the 20th anniversary. And I have myself and my friend Steph, who makes the amazing tinsel capes, all the discos.
They're so cool.
They're amazing, aren't they?
We'll link her up. We'll link her up.
Yes, absolutely. So we've curated this event called the Emporium of Love, which is in the boutique camping of the Secret Garden Party. So it's our accessories together, and then our friends Ashley and Sam under the name of Bells are DJing classic house and disco, and it's going to be amazing. And we're going to have ridiculous karaoke, UK garage, absolute nonsense, fun and games. But
it sounds so good, and I'm very jealous.
I'm so excited, and it's been 6 months in the making, and it was just meant to be me and Steph in the corner of a bar with a table, and managed to pull together a whole event. So very grateful for that opportunity and very excited for the opportunity. But then alongside that, I'm also curating the fabulous Bitty Fashion Fest.
Yeah.
It's crunch time for my course. It's the last couple of weeks for my writing course.
Yeah.
And obviously the podcast and the socials, which I'm now realizing quite how long it takes me to do the socials, whereas I kind of zone out or hyper focus on doing it and don't realize that it's taking up hours and hours of my day. That I don't have whilst trying to do all of these other things at once. But yeah, so I got back from Glastonbury to like, right, I've got 3 weeks to make all the things. I mean, I had been making stuff before, but obviously, you know how it goes. And got back, realised I actually only had 2 weeks. Yeah. Then because of time blindness, so that was like, shit, I've only got 2 weeks. That's fine. Then had some really bad news and lost quite a few days of that first week.
Yeah.
Then, partly because I was aggressively exercising very angrily to try and release stress, and probably partly because of said stress, I gave myself tendinitis and literally could not walk. So that took up a lot of the first week as well. And my husband, poor old Big, had to even like go to the shed and get things for me to help me make things, because I literally couldn't walk out of my house into my shed because I could not stand. So that ate up a lot of time, but then got it better and knuckled down for the last, it's been about 9 days, 8 or 9 days, I think. And it has been absolute ridiculousness, like hyper focus to the point of sacrificing all else. Yesterday afternoon, which was my last bit of making, even though I'd already decided what I was making, I added more things to make. Just realized I was bent over the table, like making this hat, and I was like, what's that smell? Oh my god, it's me. I actually smell. And I said it out loud, and Big just went, yeah, you literally haven't functioned as a human being for over a week. And I suddenly realized I don't remember the last time I washed. I haven't actually seen the sea, and we live next to the sea. So that means I haven't left the house at all. Like literally, a whole week of waking up, making, and not finishing till 2-3 in the morning, getting a couple of hours sleep.
I was away to say, what time have you been going to bed each night as well? Yeah, 2-3 in the morning?
I think the earliest I went to bed was 1:30 this week, but every other night's been like 2-3. And then my brain's so full of all the logistics of what needs to happen that I haven't then been able to sleep till maybe 4. So yeah, it's been absolutely ridiculous. And so that's why it was particularly funny when the listener reached out and said, how do you avoid burnout and how do you cope with stress? I was just like, are you actually kidding me? Tell me, I literally am the last person who could ever tell you that. Ever. But there is some positives here, is that having, traded at a lot of festivals in the past over the years, at this stage in proceedings, I am normally an absolute wreck, so stressed and just full on catastrophizing that everything that I've made is absolute rubbish. Everyone's going to laugh at me. I'm not going to sell anything. One year, I was so overwhelmed by it all and couldn't make the decision, because obviously, again, that's another way my ADHD presents, is being indecisive.
Yeah.
And needing reassurance. But if you're the boss and you've made it, then who's going to tell, who's to reassure you? You have to do it. So overwhelmed by not knowing what price to put things at, that I had the most bizarre kind of panic attack in which I completely shut down and went totally mute.
Yeah.
Couldn't even speak. I was that overwhelmed. I just completely shut down. Whereas last night, I was like, oh, do you know what? I've done all right. This is all right. I'm not saying I'm the best by any means, and there are plenty of people who make what I make now and do a better job than me, I'm sure of it. But well done, Laura. You've done your best. That's all you can do. It looks pretty good. As long as people have got a sense of humour and they're up for being flamboyant and daft, you've nailed it. Well done.
It looks more than pretty good. I've seen everything you've made and it's absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you. I would normally be in a right old state, and things like getting there, the logistics of getting to the right gate, setting up, have I got everything I need? There's so many things that would cause me such enormous levels of stress.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm okay. And I think there's only one reason why that is, and it has to be the medication.
Yeah.
It has to be, because I've done this many times. There's no difference in anything that I've done. Yeah, okay, I'm a little bit older, but let's be honest, I haven't grown up. So it's absolutely got to be medication.
Yeah.
So, I don't feel at all stressed. I feel excited. Yeah, there's still some shit that I need to do. And yes, it's going to be a bit stressful when we're getting through the gate, make sure the vehicle isn't overweight and things like that. Yeah, the power might cut out and people might not be able to pay by card. And I'm like, yeah, give a shit, I'll be all right. That's not me.
Yeah. And that's it. When you can see that difference in yourself, it just kind of makes you realize that, getting the help and the medication, and it gives me hope.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I've still just said I haven't washed for a week or been outdoors.
Oh yeah.
And all the ridiculousness that this week has been, because what I've done is the ADHD classic trait of taking on too much.
Yeah.
Too much. My phone was going off all day yesterday from all different avenues. All of the different things that I'm doing, I was getting multiple messages from. That's too much. So the medication and the help, it doesn't change who you are.
No.
But it is helping me cope. And
but I do think this is where it probably brings us into our differences at this point, because
yes,
I'm definitely an ADHDer that runs away from things, and I will avoid taking things on because of the fear of failure. So seeing you do what you're doing, I am in awe of what you're capable of and what you get done. And even doing this podcast, I know that I probably wouldn't have gotten this far if it wasn't having you with that energy and that push and that motivation to just just go for things, just go get them.
But then at the same time, I wouldn't have done it without you either. So
well, exactly. we need each other for this. But yeah, I think that's
each other along.
Yeah, but that is definitely a difference for me, because I'm definitely a person that I'll shy away from things and not go for things because I know that I'll probably fail. So I'm just like, I'll just not take that on, so that then I don't have to, deal with the consequences of me not following through or failing it. And there are certainly things that I do sign up to and pull out of. Like, for example, Ride the North this year. I do this charity cycle, and I've done it 4 or 5 times now, and I was supposed to be doing it again this year. And I conveniently booked a holiday right during when Ride the North is, because if I'm honest, like, yes, I booked that holiday because I wanted a holiday before I went back to uni. So yeah, that is what it is. But conveniently is at the same time as Ride the North, so I can pull out without having to actually say, oh, I'm pulling out because I've not done any training or exercise and I'm not prepared to do this. So this is like this.
Well, you've blown it now.
Well, exactly. I've totally blown my cover now. But I guess that's a good thing about the podcast, is like, being open and honest with people. But yeah, let's be honest, I pulled out of that cycle because I'm not in any way, shape or form prepared for it. And I don't want to make an arse of myself by trying to do this cycle, knowing full well that I'm not going to be able to cycle 100 miles in one day. I can't even freaking run a bath at the moment, let alone do any kind of distance. So, like, no, it's just not going to happen. And so I do avoid things because I know that I fail. And that's essentially why I've avoided uni for the whole of my adult life, because I just knew that I wasn't capable of it. Whereas now, obviously, with the newfound knowledge of ADHD and stuff, and there being help in place, and I'm more determined now because I kind of know what I want. I don't want to fail uni, but it still scares the shit out of me that I will.
You've done so well. Will continue to do so well.
That is probably one of the bigger differences between us that I see. But then you'll be the opposite, because you see me in a workplace, and that's
exactly. It's exactly it. So, like, what I was going to say is the ridiculous level of stress that I get myself to, I do actually tend to thrive off it, and I push and I push and I push. But I think it's such a strange thing, because the drive comes from, I think, having so much to prove, because I am so bloody inept at being a normal functioning adult human, basically. So it's like, and don't get me wrong, as I've said many times, I've had a couple of years of just being very inactive at doing anything, but it's really just been that, like, if I can see everyone around me driving their cars, doing their jobs, managing their finances, having their families, all of these things that I can't do, and that's difficult. It's a lot to take, and it takes a lot, away from you and your self-esteem and everything else, and keeping your head up can be hard. So then it's like something in my mind is like, well, I can't do any of that stuff, so what can I do? And then it's like, all right, so if this is what life is, and I'm always going to feel this inept, and I'm never going to have the things that everyone else, and I'm saying this inverted commas, obviously, very tongue-in-cheek, everyone else has, then, like, what is life about? Because I'm going to have at it. So the things that I can do, I'm going to absolutely have at it. And I'm not going to stop. And I think that that's the thing with the podcast, is like, we didn't expect it to do as well as it has. We did it because we wanted to do it, and we knew that there was need for it. And it's helped us as much as it's helped anybody else, I think. But then it's like, in seeing that it is actually properly helping people, there's just such a fire lit under our asses, isn't there? It's just like push. And this week has been like, it's almost been like, right, should I just put this down Like at times, I even said to you, should we just have a week off? Should we have a week off? Because, you know, you've got loads of stuff going on with your job and stuff this week. Like, should we just knock it for a week? And then it's just like, then we've just got all of this bloody brilliant news that like we're actually doing well. It's like, right, okay, let's push.
Well, that's it. Like, I feel like this is kind of like, without, you know, sounding cheesy or whatever, but this has kind of been like our calling, our purpose, and we found something that, you know, that drives us both. And I think especially for me, like, whereas you've gone off and you've done the kind of non-normal life route, whereas I admire that about you, because I'm like, yes, she's gone and just done things just because she can, and she's found what she's good at, and she just gone with it. Whereas I think I've tried so hard to fit into society and to fit into the social norms, in that I will get a normal job, I will get a normal house, I will get this. And actually it's not worked for me, and it's made me struggle. Whereas now I'm finding other routes and other ways, and I'm like, right, this is what I should be doing. And so I'm no longer constricted and held back by the societal pressures. I'm now just being like, fuck all that. And finding my own way.
Just to let you know, like, I'm incredibly envious of you being able to do what you do, because I have made multiple attempts and then just had to quit and have a nervous breakdown, basically. So you are doing incredible things, but I do think that it is really important to note that we are kind of burning ourselves out, that we are absolutely desperate to do this podcast. Is the one thing that we both really, really want to do. And literally every single day we're waking up to so many messages from people reaching out, telling us that it's helping them. So it's obviously of value. It's a value to us, it's a value to other people. And look at what we've achieved in 10 weeks. Whilst burning ourselves out, spinning multiple plates, ignoring the special important people in our life because we don't have the time to even be ourselves. At this point, we're just so hopeful that we can find a way to actually make a career out of this. Not so that we can get internet points or, you know, be the face of female ADHD or anything like that, just because it's what we want to do. And if we can achieve this much with the little time that we have, think about what we could achieve if we actually had proper time to do it. So if you are listening to us and you are like a squillionaire, then please will you pay us to do this podcast, because we're really struggling to do it, and we really bloody want to do it. So
essentially, if we could find sponsorship, and if there was anyone out there that can help us, not necessarily be our sponsor, I mean, if you can, great, but if you know how to get into that, or, you know, people to talk to, where we need to go to find that, we don't want to just, like, you know, chuck in loads of adverts and like bore you with loads of adverts to try and, you know, monetize this podcast. But if we can find a way to make this, you know, essentially a career option, then I'm not going to need 2 jobs. Like, this could get me through uni while I'm doing it. And it's like, we're helping people and we're doing something, and we want to keep doing that. And so for us to be able to keep doing that, if we were able to make some money off of it, then that would help us massively.
And this week been so slack, and it's actually upset me, because it's like, these people are in need, they're reaching out so kindly and graciously saying thank you so much, and I literally don't have the time to even read the email properly this week, or, you know, to even think about responding it. That's not good enough. That's not what I want. I want to be able to do this properly. So if anyone can help us, that would be amazing. And even if you're not a bisquillionaire, you can help us by buying us a coffee.
Yeah, we really appreciate all the support that we've had so far on Buy Me a Coffee. And if you'd like to support us in any way, then head over to buymeacoffee.com/ADHD as females, where you can buy us 1 coffee or as many coffees as you like.
But it's not really about coffee at all. It is just a donation. It's a donation to our podcast. It covers the outgoings. And like say, we really are putting in a lot of hours that we don't really have. So if you get anything from this, then we would love a little donation. That would be amazing.
But please don't, go spending your last £5 on us or anything like that. We don't want you to be spending money that you don't have.
Obviously.
So, obviously. But yeah, anything that you can help us with, it helps us massively. And we really want to, we've had quite a few people asking about merch and stuff as well. So that's something that we can kind of, if we have money coming in, that's something that we can look at getting sorted out, getting some t-shirts and some merch out to you guys. And
again, it's time, because we also say that we want to get all of the episodes up on YouTube that are interviews, and then we can also have them subtitled. And again, we just don't have enough hours in the day, but we'll get there. We're getting there.
We will. We're going to keep pushing through. Anyway, Laura, I guess this brings us to the end of this episode. And I'd like to know what the most ADHD thing you've done this week is.
Well, there's just so many, Dawn. There's so many. Obviously, not realising that I actually smell. It's really, really ADHD. Not going outside, the hyperfocus, all of that. But I guess time blindness has been the really big one this week, because I, like I said, thought I had 3 weeks. I only had 2, lost a week of that at least, and then got down to it. And instead of just thinking, well, I've got precious little time, so I'll just do what I can do, I gave myself even more jobs, because I had no concept that how long things will take me whatsoever. Yesterday, so my husband has been so kind, has helped me so much this week, and he pointed out, just generally brilliant human being, he pointed out that we needed to pack the car at some point, and to actually factor that in as a job. Because in my mind, all I was factoring in was making, not the packing. Yeah. And so I ended up, my glue gun, I was making some headpieces. My glue gun just packed up, just decided, absolutely not, love. Are you having a laugh? It was never meant to be used this much, never mind used this much in a week.
To be fair, I saw your glue gun this week and I said to you, I was like, what the hell is this? That poor thing. I didn't even know it was a glue gun. It was just covered in feathers and all sorts.
Oh my God. Do you know what? The worst part has been my nails. My fingernails have been covered in glue and feathers for about 10 days. And I'm telling you, it's madness. Like, it's absolutely maddening. We've had feathers, sequins and gems stuck to the soles of our fucking feet for over a week. Like, it's literally the stuff of nightmares. Our house has been a nightmare. So I honestly don't know how big is coped at the patience of saying that, man. But yeah, so I never would have even thought about packing up the car as a job. And it's one of the most important jobs. Yeah. And it eventually got done at about 10, 11 midnight last night. And thank God he said, because I would have just left it. I would have made stuff into the wee hours. I would have tried to pack it this morning. Nothing would have fit. Had a nervous breakdown. And the glue gun packed up. And for a minute there, let's not lie. For half an hour there, I persevered with a broken glue gun, sticking my finger through the hole to push the glue. Like, I'm not even joking. And that's why another reason why diagnosis is important is because I suddenly realized, like, this is just like ridiculous impulsive behavior. Yeah. Like, this isn't reasonable or logical. Stop it. So I stopped and I packed the car. That's about 50 ADHD things. So I'll shut up now. How about you?
I was just also going to add into that. And then you've also had Big in the car beside you driving along, having to put up with us yapping on the episode. Say hi, Big.
I've been trying to keep him.
I saw him wanting to interject at one point and he didn't. Well done, darling. So I just want to say, disclaimer, it's not because I think I'm Carrie Bradshaw. His nickname is Big because he's an actual giant.
Yeah, he is a giant. I can back that up. He is an actual giant.
I wanted to add, a few months ago, we said, like, when do we need to pack the car by? When or what time do we need to be gone? In my mindset, I said, it doesn't really matter. No worries, because, in my sort of way of thinking, it was like, yeah, we'll get the car packed before we go. When I say to you, like, oh, don't worry, there's no time limit on it, that just means to you, oh, okay, I'll just carry on. And sort of the hyper focus, you just carry on and on and on. And you don't, because it's not like a trigger in your mind to go, oh, I should stop now, I just need to pack the car. So the other day when we were talking about it, I was like, oh, don't worry about it. So actually, no, do worry about it.
Yeah.
Let's aim for the 10 o'clock cut-off point. You've got a point to say, oh, okay, yeah, that's what I need to work to, because then you came through and asked me. Should we load the car now? I was like, yeah, it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah. That's a really good point, actually, because I would never have thought about it. Like, I glanced at the clock, saw it was 8:30, and went, oh, he's given me a time limit. I've got an hour and a half. I should start doing that now. Whereas otherwise, I literally would not have looked up from 8:30 till 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
If my glue gun hadn't broken. 100%. Yeah.
There you go.
So there you go. Anyway, tell us, Dawn, what's the most ADHD thing you've done this week?
I mean, there's been quite a few for me as well, but I think probably the biggest one is I had a physio appointment on Friday morning because I've got a knackered back, and I've known about it for weeks, and I've put an alarm in it, and I've kept meaning to tell them at work that I had this appointment, but obviously I just kept forgetting and remembering at the wrong time, which is what, like, you know, you do all the time. You remember things at the wrong time. So I finished work on Thursday night, and I hadn't told anyone that my physio appointment was at 8:20 in the morning. I'm supposed to start work at 8. And as soon as I left work on the Thursday, I was like, oh crap, I've got this appointment, and I hadn't told them. So I had to phone them up at 8 a.m. on the Friday morning to tell them I'm going to be late in today because I've got this physio. And then now it obviously doesn't look good. And I'm already covering for someone's holiday. So I'm doing 2 jobs at the moment. And I had to take my letter and everything back in with me after the physio because I was like, they're not going to believe me. I even made the point of wearing my shorts and t-shirt that I would have wore at the physio to the office yesterday because I was so in my head thinking they're not going to believe me because I've just told them last minute. They're going to think I'm lying.
RSD.
Proper RSD. So I sat in work the whole day yesterday with cycling
feeling
shorts,
like a criminal.
cycling shorts and a t-shirt so that I could prove that I'm not lying. I was there because I just forgot to tell them. Just an idiot. But yeah, I do stuff like that all the time. I can see the appointment appearing and I'm like, oh, I need to do something about that. And then all of a sudden the thing's here and I've done nothing about it.
Bless you. Yeah. But they did, yeah.
A few people came into the office yesterday as well, and they were like, what are you wearing today? A few of our engineers came in and they're like, what are you wearing? I'm like, just ignore me. I was at the physio this morning.
Honest.
Yeah. And I'm like, look, I've got a letter to prove it. I wasn't just being shady and turning up an hour and a half late like I was at the physio. Oh, but yeah, that
I think that kind of brings us to a close, doesn't it?
It does. I think you were going to mention it as well, but I was just going to mention that next week we have Louise Williams on our podcast, and if you've never heard of Louise before, she's known as the Pink Pear Bear, and she has an online blog. She's on Facebook. She's got various groups about ADHD and her journey, and she is super insightful and has loads of information and advice.
We just had such a lovely chat with Louise, and just really felt like we connected as she did as well. It was just like a real meeting of similar minds, obviously, as we all are, and she has just done so much work. Her Facebook group is 20k people or something, isn't it, that she's actually giving really amazing advice to and bringing the community together. So she's been at it years, in the community for such a long time. And that's why, once again, it's so nice that people in the ADHD community have been so welcoming to us. When we've just bulldozed in two numpties who don't have a clue what we're talking about, and people have actually been kind enough to give us their time once again. So thank you to Louise, and we can't wait to share that episode.
I know, it's super exciting. And with that said, go off and have the most amazing time down at Secret Garden Party, and I hope you sell all of your lovely goods. And
thank you so much.
I'm off to a barbecue.
Have a lovely time at the barbecue. We hope everyone has a lovely week, and like we say, you know, do get in touch with us however you like, either by email or DM. We love hearing from you. If we don't get straight back to you, please don't RSD about it. We're just getting a lot of messages and we have so little time, but we do care. We love hearing from you. We will get back to you. And like you say, if you fancy buying us a coffee, we would really love you forever for that. And any reviews, any shares on Facebook groups, anything and everything to get the word out there. Every little bit helps us, and we're so appreciative of it. And for getting us to 15K.
I know, amazing. But yeah, we appreciate every single one of you, and we're on this journey with you. And so just remember to always be kind, compassionate to yourself and others, and keep smashing everything. Not like teapots and stuff, like just smashing life.
Dawn Farmer, keep smashing everything. Fanny first.
Sometimes I don't even know what comes out of my mouth until it's there.
Honestly, it is though, isn't it? It's like you zone out and you're still talking.
Yeah.
And then you come back round, it's like I don't have a clue what I just said.
Yeah. I think it's because I was thinking about what I was going to wear to this barbecue, and then I
saw your eyes go. I saw you go somewhere else. It's like, no. Interesting.
I am.
Keep smashing everything.
Keep smashing everything.
All right, lovely. Well, thank you, and thank you for helping me so much this week, and for letting me record this podcast on the road.
Way.
Hey, and thank you to our special guest, Big.
Thanks.
Way. See you next week.
Lots of love. Bye.
ADHDS.